Okay, ready?
Hello, and thank you for coming tonight. Tonight we are going to talk about why cell phone use should be illegal while driving. So, did you know that if you are talking on your cell phone, you are 4 times more likely to get in a car accident, which is the equivalent of a drunk driver getting into a car accident? Also, if you are texting while driving, you are 8 times more likely to get into a car accident. 86% of Americans use their automobile to commute daily. So 8.6 out of 10 of our loved ones are at potential risks for the consequences of cell phone use while driving. Cell phone use while driving causes major distractions on 3 different levels. We also need to consider what should we be focusing on the road instead of our cell phones. And third, we can talk about when it is safe to use our cell phone or appropriate in emergency situations. So let's talk about the 3 types of distractions that cell phones cause while we are on the road. Manual distractions mean that your hands are taken off of the steering wheel. You've got one on the steering wheel, one on your cell phone, and you do not have complete control over your car. The visual distraction means that your eyes are taken off of the road and put onto your cell phone. And the third distraction would be a cognitive distraction, means that your mind has wandered from the task of being on the road and driving to listening to the other end of a conversation or comprehending a text message you're trying to read or trying to read that funny meme on Facebook that you're trying to catch a glimpse of while you're driving down the road or sitting in traffic. So when we are distracted on these 3 different planes, it prevents drivers from making split-second decisions necessary in certain situations. That could mean emergency braking, moving out of the way for emergency vehicles or stalled vehicles, or it could even mean running red lights, hitting another car, or even hitting a pedestrian, which are some pretty severe consequences. So next, let's talk about what we should be focusing on while we are driving. So while we are driving, we need to be observing and communicating constantly. You need to notice what is happening around you using your mirrors, your eyes, all your windows. You need to utilize turn signals, your horn, and hand gestures to communicate to other drivers or pedestrians on the road. Obeying the laws is obviously a known fact. Do not drive under the influence. It's just as deadly as using your cell phone. Look for all signs, signals, speed limits, traffic lights, street signs. Driving is a multifunctional task and it requires all of your attention, and there's no room for distraction in that formula. Let's talk about how we can safely use our cell phones in our cars. Hands-free devices are something that are integratable into a lot of newer cars and sometimes even older cars. So when you are picking a hands-free device, you need to pick something that is going to allow you to keep both hands on the steering wheel as well as your eyes on the road. When you first get this equipment, you want to make sure you're testing it out in a safe area, like an empty parking lot, before you get onto the road and potentially have any issues or quality errors or that sort of thing. It's never safe, even with a hands-free device, to text or email, and you need to make sure you avoid any emotional or complex conversations that can take your focus off of the road. In emergency situations, cell phones can actually be pretty great. If you are stranded on the side of the road or have a flat tire, make sure your vehicle's turned off and you can use your cell phone to call a tow truck or even call for emergency help. If there's a life-threatening incident that happens, if there's a car accident, if you see somebody that's fallen down on the road, cell phones are great to even call or use to text message 911 and help save a life. If you can pull over, if you are in motion, do that. But obviously somebody's life is more important, so that you can use your cell phone to dial that 911 call. The use of cell phones that would distract drivers and cause harm should be illegal. So Other many essential tasks to focus on while driving have been talked about earlier in this presentation. Again, there's so many laws to obey, there's other drivers, there is traffic, there's weather conditions, there's so many other things to focus on while you're driving, and cell phones should really not be a primary factor. Simply putting your phone away or having somebody else in the car take over a conversation or correspond for you can be the difference between life and death, which is a pretty big deal. So this is why I feel that cell phone use should be illegal while we are driving our motor vehicles, unless it's on a hands-free device or if it's an emergency situation. Thank you for being here today, and I appreciate your time.
How long is it?